Sorry, guys, for that. Hi, I'm Christy Honeycutt. I'm your host for Inside the C-Suite, where execs get real about leadership, impact, and what truly drives high-stake decisions. I'm super excited to be on the show today with Jocelyn King, the CEO of Virtual HR, and a very dear friend of mine. Hi, Jocelyn.
Hi, Christy. I'm so happy to be back on the podcast.
I'm happy to have you back. So this is our second or third year that we've kind of met each other.
Actually, I think it's only been a year, but yes, but the bond is real.
The bond is real, guys. It is definitely real. So for those of us that don't know the wonderful person you are and what Virtual HR does, I'd love for you just to sprinkle that in.
Sure, yeah. So my name is Jocelyn King. I'm the CEO and founder of Virtual HR. Virtual HR is an employment and labor law compliance platform that is used by HR professionals to help automate the compliance administrative process by simplifying some of the more complex or monotonous tasks that they have to complete. We have everything from a chatbot to a handbook builder to legal updates to talking to a lawyer. So a variety of features that are available there. We also have the web-based application, but we integrate into HRIS as well. So it's a very dynamic product and something that we're excited about. My background is I've been a human resources professional my entire career. Really felt the pain from this, especially working for multi-state employers, and decided it was high time someone bring technology and automation into the mix for clients.
And that's what I love most. I know we talked about that before because a lot of HR folks really struggle, and we all know that they get treated as if they're outsourced attorneys, and they're not. And there's my favorite thing I always heard is, well, I'm not an attorney, however, X, Y, Z. So, and I mentioned too, like, had I known that your company were around, obviously, we would have purchased it hands down, just really good thing. Not the tech is great, but the people that you have working at the company that are behind it is a big legacy as well.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm very fortunate to have an amazing team, and just couldn't be happier and prouder of them. Grown pretty significantly just in the past year, which is really exciting, and so much of it, most of it, is in part because of them.
Oh, I walked around your booth, and your booth has expanded, and your goodies have expanded. Your team, there's new faces I didn't know, and they're all smiling and just very happy and helpful. It is, and I have to tell on your team because I walked around the expo, and there's some wonderful really itchy things out there. But it was surprising how many booths that I walked by that no one spoke up and said hi. No one reached out to do anything. So guys, if you're sending your team to HR Tech, please have a look at our booth and how they're interacting with people. They're doing such a great job.
Thank you.
So what's the strategy for this year? Because I know you guys are growing. What's the focus for the team?
Yeah, so there are really three focuses for us right now. The first is expanding globally, which we'll begin doing in Q1 of 2026. The second piece is our AI roadmap. We have a very, I think, progressive but definitely ambitious AI roadmap that we're working toward. And then the third is integrations. We have integrations just lined up month over month. Some of them are more complex than others. But it's really exciting because these integrations allow for a compliance tool to be proactive rather than reactive. So yes, it will do things like prompt an HR user within their HRIS to do certain things, and it will do a legal analysis of things that they're working on to tell them, hey, this is what you need to do to be compliant. They don't even have to know that law exists in the first place.
They don't have to go to the phone and attorney and run a bill. Yeah, that's great. Those are three really strong initiatives.
Yeah.
What about integrations? So when I hear the word integrations, I think of partnerships. Is this going to be a focus for Virtual HR?
Yes, it definitely is, and it's a program that we're really building out forward. We sell direct to businesses, but we also sell indirect to companies like Bamboo HR, for example. We just went live with Bamboo HR in June, and Bamboo provides our product to, they have 33,000 customers, so provides our product to their customers, and that's kind of how the indirect model works. So I do think that what we will end up seeing is majority indirect, ultimately coming from partnerships, but I really want to democratize the product to make it available to a person who perhaps is not engaged with one of our partners, and that's why we keep the direct sales model as well.
I love that. I love you're such a visionary on how you think about growing the business and like the steps that you take. And you have a really strong team ahead of you, which is great. Anything new on the horizon that we didn't cover?
Oh, anything new coming up? Well, we do have a new version of our bot that we're releasing for the US in a couple months. It'll be much more dynamic. What's really unique about our bot is that over the last 4 years, we have built this really massive proprietary database of employment labor law. It's all content that's been analyzed and developed and vetted by our employment and labor law attorneys. So our AI model is trained off of our database. We don't use open source. We don't want ChatGPT pulling up some article from Wikipedia. The data has to be credible 100% of the time. And have any type of open source type of, it ends up deteriorating the credibility of the content because it often is difficult to have a human in that type of situation, whereas we're able to do that, which is nice. So very thorough. We cover a lot of topic areas in the employee life cycle. We also cover federal, state, and localities as well.
So I know that federal, state, localities is a big deal, and it's probably the top one. What would you say, like the top 3 things that your technology helps HR and organizations work on for mitigating risk? Like, are there dirty 3 that kind of come to mind?
Yeah, even in terms of a differentiator. So yes, the locality piece is important. I don't think there are many vendors out there that are touching the localities, and there are over 22,000. So it's a big lift. So that's a huge differentiator for us. If you could imagine, you have an employee in California requesting maternity leave, and you use a tool that doesn't cover locality. It says, okay, in the state of California, here are the laws that you need to be aware of. Well, what if that person is in San Francisco? San Francisco has its own laws as well that you have to comply with. So if that tool isn't covering localities, you're in big trouble as an HR professional. I think the second thing is that we're very tech forward. It's an embedded integration, for example, with the subsystem work from the other businesses. And it can do some pretty cool things outside of, me mentioning that this chatbot kind of follows the user around and does a legal analysis of the work that they're doing and says, hey, here's what you need to do. There are also other ways that we are automating compliance for HR, such as, for example, let's say Kentucky increases their minimum wage to $20 an hour. What we do is we identify the 9 impacted employees in the system and tell HR, hey, these 9 employees need to have their pay increased to $20 on October 1st. Do you want to schedule that now? Yes, they never have to think about it again. It changes in the system on October 1st. So that's what we're really trying to accomplish, and that's really what sets us apart from the rest of our competitors out there.
You're truly loving on HR. You're keeping your noses clean. You're helping them not be a determined. You're helping them keep their company safe and really need to such a cool way. So I know you personally. I know there's a lot of really wonderful things about you. So I have a gift for you. So I'd love for you. Cats or dogs? Dogs. Always dogs. Always dogs. So I couldn't find Tell Your Dog I Said Hi, but I did find Easily Distracted by Dogs.
Oh, that's so cute. I love that. Thank you.
Welcome.
Yeah, whenever I come over, I'll have to wear this and I will judge all day long.
So Jocelyn has met my family and my dog.
Yes, he's very cute.
He's a little Frenchie. I'm a Frenchie. So I'd like to talk to the CEOs about the human side of things. And I know you're a huge animal lover. I didn't know how huge until your wonderful husband shared the opportunity with you too. So I'd love for you to share about that.
Yeah, so I'm weirdly, maybe not weirdly, obsessed with dogs. Dogs in particular, although I love all animals. I just rescued a squirrel the other day. It was a little baby squirrel. And it was in my garage. It was so cute, so I took it to a wildlife center. So I love animals, I love dogs, and I really want to give back. There are so many homeless dogs, dogs that live abused, dogs that are in terrible living situations that need support. And so I work with a couple of shelters near my house, and it can be anything from keeping dogs for a couple of weeks while we find a new home for them, to donating, to actually spending time walking the dogs and taking care of them. It's something that I did, yes. Yeah, I recently did a bingo fundraiser. Yes, I did a bingo fundraiser a couple of weeks ago for one of the rescues. So yes, it's a good obsession to have. I think
It's a healthy obsession.
yeah, there we go. Yes.
He keeps you calm.
Yeah.
Well, and I think your heart shows in your work. And I know that you're very passionate about HR for HR and PR for HR, and you launched a new podcast. And what I liked about it, guys, I was one of your guests yesterday, your manager, you're wonderful at it. But what I really like about it is that you're making it really to people that accept and perceive and understand who truly are HR for HR. So can you share a little bit about what's driving that podcast and the work behind it?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's something that I've always been very passionate about is, you look at, for example, Virtual HR is a compliance company, and you think, okay, the mission is probably something very stale and dry. But my mission is I want to take away that administrative burden from HR so they can focus on people strategy, because too often they're spending time researching, they're spending time trying to figure out what paperwork needs to be completed, they're talking to lawyers. It takes a tremendous amount of time out of their day, and so when they're stuck on these administrative tasks, they aren't able to produce any type of strategic outcomes for the business, and it kind of sets us back as HR professionals. So that part's really important to me. When I was really thinking about what I wanted out of this podcast, I really wanted a podcast that did a couple of things. The first is I wanted to educate HR professionals on what can sometimes feel like very theoretical things across HR, like, for example, maybe it's something around pay equity. And everyone's talking about pay equity audits, and we really don't know much about pay equity audits. We've never done one before. So I bring in somebody who's an expert in pay equity. And break down in a very applicable fashion how you can actually do a pay equity audit and apply that to your business. So that part's really important. The second thing that I really like to focus on is technology. I firmly believe that it's going to be absolutely critical for HR to be technology ready and technology savvy, and they have to start doing it now. There was somebody who recently told me, it could have been you for all I know, it's been such a long Christy, somebody who recently told me that 40% of HR leaders that were interviewed for survey said that they did not understand what their AI roadmap needed to be, which is concerning, but not surprising. So we talk a lot about how do you design your roadmaps, how do you vet and implement new technologies, how do you ensure adoption, so a lot of implementations can go awry, how do you implement or integrate change management into your process, because I think change management is also lacking with more professionals simply because it is a specialization, right? As a generalist, I'm not going to be an expert in learning and development, but I might be an expert in change management because that's my master's degree, and so I've done a lot of work with that. So change management is something that will be super critical with AI coming into play, and something that everybody needs to get educated on. So we talk a lot about that too.
I love that. You hit on something really important because we are in HR tech. There's lots of shiny objects and beautiful people. And there are a lot of people that are out there trying to determine who do I want to partner with, who do I want to purchase from, and everything. Again, these shiny people, how do they determine, how would you recommend to your HR brothers and sisters if they're walking around the floor to pick the tech that's right there? Because there's so many, I don't even know how many vendors are there.
There are a tremendous amount of vendors that would be really overwhelming. So there are a few steps in all of this, right? The first is figuring out what is your people strategy and how does it align with organizations' goals and business outcomes. From there, you can take a look at what initiatives do you want to put in place based on those goals. It could be engagement, it could be listening, it could be talent management, it could be talent acquisition, there's a wide variety. It could be all, it could be a couple. And then prioritizing that, building out your roadmap. Right? What type of technology do I want to implement and when? and ensuring that you have buy-in from other leaders in your organization before you even go to work. Once you've done all of that, you come to a place like this and you're almost crying because there are so many
Your grocery shopping
companies
in tech.
that we're looking at them right now. There are very, very many. But let's say, for example, that your first initiative is going to be engagement with the team, and you want to find an engagement platform. I would recommend that since it's an investment to come out here, that you look and see who the exhibitors are that would be providing an engagement platform before coming here, so that you can then tackle each one while you're here. And while you're here, you want to consider what are the requirements for your business, right? Like, let's say, for example, your sales team is not engaged and there's low productivity. And you've gone to your CEO and you've said, you know what, if we can increase productivity on the sales team by 5%, we can make an additional $4 million. Right away, we're no longer a cost center as an HR department. We're saving money or we're making money in the business. So what type of engagement software out there is going to be best suited for maybe this sales team? Kind of look at the rest of the organization too. This is what's really critical to your company today. And then figure out, okay, these are the functionalities that I need out of this product. And so I'm going to go and look for those, ask the right questions when speaking to the salespeople and determine what's right. Then, maybe you find 3 or 4, you go back home, you start vetting them a little more thoroughly. I would say especially if AI is involved, but in general, because tech should always include a CIO or CTO, depending on what it is, into the mix to make sure that we're looking at an AI product, how do we ensure that there isn't unconscious bias, right? For example, how can it potentially integrate with the rest of the tech stack across the organization?
Right.
So including them is going to be really key. And once you have identified who you're going with, you've identified the project plan for implementation, you have the right stakeholders in place, and you should always be including from a change management perspective stakeholders across every level of the organization, even the that's really critical. And you go through that implementation process, the change management process from there.
And Jocelyn will be holding classes at Virtual HR. Her booth is over there. No, that's really, really great feedback, and it's simple feedback. I think in the midst of all of this and the environment that we're all working in, it's overwhelming because HR is fearful making the wrong decision. There's so much that's unknown. So I love that you give that very practical guidance that so many need. And I know that we are on a very tight timeline because this young lady is very wanted and interviewing all the this today. But before we sign off, what's your favorite thing to do in Vegas?
Ooh, favorite thing to do? Well, I would say the very most favorite thing I've ever done in Vegas is seeing Martin Garrix.
Okay.
So it would probably be seeing some type of show, maybe a music show, or I really like, maybe it's his body or something, but I really like EDM. So I love going to EDM shows. That's one of my favorite things to do here.
To me, that's like meditation. Oh my goodness. Yes. Justin, thank you so much again for your friendship, for your leadership in the community. I really appreciate you joining us. And for those of you out there, like and follow Inside the C-Suite and check out Work Defined at the most amazing network, and of course this lovely lady Jocelyn King in Virtual HR. Bye.